Hi friends, welcome back to the next lesson on this chapter of coding and decoding. And in this lesson, I am talking about one couple of more question patterns that you will see in coding decoding chapter. The first one of this is essentially one in which you have some numerical pattern followed between the code and the numbers. So, for example, if I talk about a case. A question, it says that in a certain code 1000 is written as 1728, 1000 is coded as 1728 and 125 is written as 343. So in the same code, what will 512 be written as? So in this situation, you basically have to understand that, or be able to visualize or recognize the pattern, that all the numbers here are cubes of numbers. So 1000 is 10 cube, 1728 is 12 cube, 125 is 5 cube, 343 is 7 cube. So what's happening essentially is that you're jumping ahead by plus 2 on the cube, and hence because 512 is 8 cube, the solution to this question would be 10 cube, which will be 1000, right? So for example, another case could be, and this is that in a certain code L is written as 12 and G is written as 7. So what will be the code for 9? The code for 12 is L, the code for 7 is G. So what will be the code for 9? So this is of course just the alphabet placing: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. G is 7, H, I, J, K, L, L is 12. So 9 will obviously be I in this situation, and that's about it there, right? Now then an interesting question type comes where you are given the same word and coded as different words multiple times. So for example, the next question I want to show you is, it says TCP is drink fruit juice, and this question type is very common in coding decoding. TCP means drink fruit juice. C, ki, li means juice is sweet. And li, ri, mi means he is intelligent. Li, ri, mi means he is intelligent. So the question is, what is the code for the word sweet? So what you have to do essentially is, between the phrases that you see in English, you can see some words common between the first phrase and the second phrase. So for example, juice is common between the two phrases, and if you look at the coded words between the first code and the second code, C is common. So what you can make out is juice must definitely mean C, and when you're talking about the next commonality between this code and that code, you can see that is the word which is repeated in both cases in English, and the coded language li is repeated. So that means the word is must be li, the English word is must be li, and since that leaves only one more word for you, sweet, and ki in the word, so naturally ki must be standing for sweet. So this is the kind of questions that you can get based on language coding or unknown language coding. This is what it's called. Of course, in this case, you can understand that you cannot find out what drink and fruit mean because there are two possibilities for it, and you cannot find out what he and intelligent means because there are re and me, two possibilities for that. Let's take another case like this. In this case, 786 means study very hard. 786 means study very hard. 958 means hard work pays. And 645 means study and work. So what is the code for very in this question? So again, if you look at this question, you first look at the first number and the second number. Look at the commonality between them. 8 is common and the word hard is common. So 8 means hard. That's quite clear. 7695, there's nothing common, so you go between this and that. So 5 is common here and 5 is common here, and study and work, A and D is there. So the word common between the second code and the third code is work, and the digit common is 5. So my 5 means work. Now your target is to get to very. To get to very, you need to understand what study means. So before you move on, you already know 8 and 5 now as hard work. So 9 will mean pays. 9 will mean pays. And then you look at the commonality between the first and the third words, third codes. 6 is common in the first one and the third one. And the word study is common in both of them. So 6 means study, 8 means hard. So naturally very has to be 7 because that's the only word left in this case. And 6 and 5 you already worked out, study and work. So even and you can find as 4 here. So the difference between the previous one and this one was that in the previous one, the language code we are doing, the third code had nothing to, no codes common or no words common with the first one. There was a commonality between first and second, which is also there here. There was a commonality between second and third, which is also there here. But if you see, we were able to solve the values for study, very and only after we got the commonality between first and third on the 6th. So in the previous question, there was no commonality between these, and hence there were cases which were not determinable in the previous case. In this case, it gets pretty much determined. Right, so one last question before I wind up for this chapter. The question is, in a certain code, Lu Ja Ka Hu means we provide study material. Lu Ja Ka Hu means we provide study material. Fa Ka La Ju means we score maximum selection. Please know this, that in these questions, the ordering of the English language and the code need not be same. So the codes are intermingled between them. And La Fu Ja Ju, La Fu Ja Ju means study score the selection. So already you can see that this is a more difficult question because there are more variables, more numbers and more codes within each sentence. And the last one is yu, lu, na, fu, means selection of the material. So to handle a question, so lu ja kuhu, fa ka laju, la fu jaju, and ju lu na fu. Just checking whether I've copied that round correctly. So if anything goes wrong in my copying, the whole question will go wrong and won't get solved. So if I look at this now, I can start looking at what's common in the code. So for example, between the first and the fourth words, material is common. Material is common. So what are the outcomes that come out of this? So material is common, and yu, lu, na, fu, and lu, ja, kahu. So lu is common, so that means material means lu. Right? And then when you look at other commonalities between the two, you can make out selection common between selection and the. There are two commonalities between the fourth code and the third code. So selection and there are two commonalities. We can't sort it out right now, but if you look at what's common between the codes, you can see that ju is common and fu is common. So that means the and selection have to share ju and fu. The and selection, let's put that down somewhere, have to be between ju and fu. You have to be careful with the language because you're not familiar with it, right? Fu and ju are the two words for selection and the, but what that gives us, that of must be na. So our English word of has to be na. So that's the second word we can deduce now, and we leave the and selection at ju and fu right now. But we look at again what's common between the second and the third, and in fact the next thing you can do is look at the selection word and look at the second code and the fourth code, and you can see that we score max selection of the material. The only commonality is selection here, and between ju and fu you can see that ju is here. So that means the word selection is coded as ju in this language, and if selection is coded as ju, that means the is coded as fu. So you have all the words of the fourth code, and you now know selection as ju, and the next thing you have to now look at is what's further common. And in this third code also, you know the and selection, now ju and fu, you know which one is which. So study and score have to share la and ja, and there's no study in the second code, so score must be la, which is common between the third and the second code. So score is la. So you have worked out score, you have worked out selection, you have worked out you have worked out selection of the material, and score you have taken out as la. So study has to be ja. So study becomes ja. So as you see, once you get the pattern, it's a very simple thing. This one is tedious because there are too many cases, but what you are doing in every step is essentially the same thing. So study is ja. So this is completely resolved. Now the only thing is v and max, and study is ja. We have already taken that out, so we can delete that, and v and provide. So what is common between v provide ka hu and v score fa ka? So V is common in both the codes, and V must be ka. V must be ka, and that leaves you with score must be fa, and provide must be who. Now, of course, if you're giving this question, if you're solving this question in a paper pen test, then you should obviously keep cutting out, cancelling out things. But if you're solving this on a computer-based test, it's ideal. It takes you a little bit of time first to write all this, but I think you should write it so that you don't have. Otherwise, you'll always keep getting confused in what you have taken care of and what you have not taken care of. And use exactly this process. Remember what the process was. As I started decoding certain words in this, I started marking them out and cancelling them out so that I am sure of what is left. Otherwise, you will have a further burden in trying to get everything into place, and you'll forget or you lose track of what has been done and what has not been done. So these are some of the precautions you need to take while solving coding decoding questions. I repeat, these are some of the simplest questions you'll come across in reasoning, and these are basically gifts. Once you understand the patterns, once you understand what the standard structures and thoughts are, coding decoding questions will essentially be gifts for your solving. Right, so with that I will wind up, and in the next lesson we will actually start a new chapter. The chapter of blood relations is left, and puzzles is left, and maybe a couple more which we want to do. But for the time being, I want to say goodbye to you and see you soon with the next lesson and the next chapter. Bye bye. Do practice the material which has been given to you on the assignments section. See you.